Hey guys, what is up? AwesomeTheSauce here. Hope you guys are having a great day and welcome to an extremely lit video because today we're going to be talking about two new leaks for the upcoming 9-pip conditionals. I want to clarify a couple of things because I've been saying the upcoming Lemuria update when I've been talking about these spells, but we've gotten information since the making of all those videos that yes, the spells are going to be coming soon. They're not going to be released simultaneously with Lemuria in test round. What does this mean? This might mean that it might be like week 3 of test round instead of week 1. It could mean that it's live realm. It could mean that there is a little bit of time after the original release of Lemuria where they're going to be starting to roll out these spells. We don't know yet. We do know that it's soon. So, I mean, listen, I got bummed out, but I'm more optimistic now. So let's get right into it. These spells are the 9-pip conditionals for Fire and Ice. Those are the ones that got leaked yesterday. I'm gonna start with the fire one. This is the fire Jinn. It's called the Caldera Jinn, and it literally just resembles a mini Scion. But by mini Scion, I'm talking about the one that we currently have, and I'm talking about one that's clearly way better. You get a Jinn that does 895 damage base, and then it doubles to literally almost 1800 just by putting traps. I'm sure I don't need to mention this, but you know, it's literally, there are fuels, so you could easily set this up with one card and then add another, or you could do a couple of fuels and then throw in something like, you know, a little brimstone. There's all kinds of trap stack strategies that once worked with Scion of Fire that could work even better with Caldera Jinn. Now, this spell is accompanied by another spell called Jinn's Reversal, which I really like because it does what I think Fire has needed for a really long time. So if someone's trapping you like crazy, you can do the ultimate act of savagery and make those traps into traps that you put on somebody else. After seeing this spell alone, I could argue very easily that Fire is going to be much better against Myth than it currently is, and I think that's really good because right now Fire, I think it's kind of hard to compete with Myth. Yeah, your Shads do a little bit more, but the second you get a Yaga minion that heals, you auto lose the game because the trade just doesn't work anymore. Not to mention that your hidden bubble's more costly, not to mention the fact that your shields don't work even though you're supposed to be the better overtime school because of King Art as it is now. I have a feeling with the King Art, the Myth King Art nerf, and with this spell, Jinn's Reversal, I feel like Fire's gonna have a real good spot in the meta, especially against Myth, because they, like, 3 of their utilities turn things into traps. So not only can you turn other people's traps into traps and help yourself set up for a big Jinn, but you also have so much synergy with the spell, with all the spells we have. I honestly think that 9 pips is probably the best for a conditional. I think it's actually better than 11 pips in a lot of ways because you don't have to wait for all that extra time. I feel like this is gonna make Fire really good. I can see combos where you double fuel into an FFA and then do it. You can do all kinds of things. I have heard that the Jinn's Reversal card, however, does make overtime traps instead of regular traps, which could actually mean that let's say that you choose to use an overtime, those traps get taken away, but if you don't choose to use an overtime, you could actually guarantee keep those traps. That means that you could use a Jinn's Reversal for 3 traps and then use a Brimstone, and theoretically you would be ready to use the Caldera Jinn. I like that they're building on this idea of overtime traps because S'mores and Beetle are the only ones that have it right now, and honestly, I see no reason to not. The only thing that I will say is that it's a little confusing to not have this exact symbol on this card if that's true. So hopefully they do that. They put the little clock, I guess. I think that would make it obvious, right? If it's a clock before the trap. If not, I mean, you can still use it like any other fuel. It's still a good spell regardless. So that's the Fire Jinn, and it's a utility that's gonna help it, like, you know, do big things. Let's move on to the Ice one. Now, the Ice one is called the Iceburn Jinn. And what it does, it starts with 740 damage and goes up to a whooping 1500. 1500 demo. That's already way more than any Shad, with or without enchants. It's gonna be an absolutely game-breaking spell if you can set it up. But I think it's counterbalanced by the fact it's very hard to set up. It's much like I think there's another, is it an Oni? I think it's the Turmoil Oni, I would have to say, for Storm, where you need a bunch of weaknesses. It's like Death Scion, where you need a bunch of weaknesses. Basically, it does extra damage if you can get 4 weaknesses on your opponent, or debuffs, I guess, and the accompanying utility somewhat makes that doable. Basically, what the spell says, if there are a bunch of weaknesses on you, you can make those weaknesses go on somebody else. I'm gonna be honest, I actually like the utility way more than the actual spell because, like, weaknesses are very, very good against ice, especially because of things like Frostbite, and it's just a nice thing to be able to transfer weaknesses over to somebody else. And unless someone has the exact same spell to use back at you, what's probably gonna end up happening is that you're just gonna end up having those weaknesses transferred into something else that you can deal with better as an ice. Like, if it gets transferred into traps, well, you're ice. You can shield it, right? So, I feel like I like that you can take weaknesses on yourself to other people. I will say this, something that I am not a fan of when it comes to these spells, and I hope they avoid this, is the fact that if you have a same school matchup, it's already kind of a snooze fest. You're just trading literally the same hits. But ice versus ice is just gonna be, it could be anyways. It could just be whoever transfers weaknesses to each other more, which I'm not a fan of that. And I will guarantee to you the fire spell, like if you have traps on you and you're making traps go on your opponent and then you're putting the traps back, if you do it back and forth, I feel like that's going to be really stale. So I hope they avoid reversal spells like this, especially if we get more and more of these utilities to fill in more gaps in school identity. But that being said, I don't really see this Jinn's Vexation spell being used really well with Iceburn Jinn, because again, it's very hard to get 4 weaknesses transferred over to somebody like that. I think this is another example of a spell that would be made better if you use off-school stuff. So what I really hope is that Ice can use like a Mastery Amulet, right? You can put on like a Death Mastery maybe, you know, you can carry Doom and Glooms, and you can also make someone's blades into weaknesses, and then you're ready to set up for something like an Iceburn Jinn more easily. This is just one idea, but I feel like that's what we're really going to see a lot of in this meta. As I've said a lot, I think Mastery Amulets for spells like this one, I don't know, I feel like that's the only viable way of using it well. I'm not looking forward to ice versus ice matchups, but I'm looking forward to literally every other matchup. So hopefully the 6 out of 7 will prevail on that one. But yeah, guys, that is the video. Let me know what you guys think of the Iceburn Jinn, the Caldera Jinn, Jinn's Vexation, and Jinn's Reversal. These are all really cool spells. I'm hoping that they change up the game. I'm hoping they change up the pace of the meta. I'm hoping that all these little spam strats and blade stack strats, I hope they at least have some variety to them. That's what I'm really hoping for. I'm looking forward, whatever this update does drop, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm just excited as hell for it. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think about the new Jinn spells. So far, we've covered 3 of them. I'll be covering more as we know. And as always, after telling me your opinion in the comments, drop a like, leave a sub if you're new. And as always, man, if somebody has not told you're awesome today, they doing something wrong. So stay awesome. And yeah, y'all.